Let's bring our guest out. Let's bring Scott Michael back out, for the say hi. Let's just dive in because we gotta get out of here fairly soon. What was, if any, your history with the movie The Room, and how did you then get approached to do an adaptation of it?
We'd never seen it. We had never seen The Room.
We've still never seen it.
We were both living in New York, and we went out to LA for the first time to visit friends in maybe 2003, and we saw the billboard, and we thought, what the fuck is that? What is that? We thought it was like a costume store or something. It was so weird. We didn't call the number. We were terrified.
I've heard people describe seeing that billboard and thinking it was like a wanted poster or something, or a furniture store. It could be anything. Yeah.
Call this number for an interesting time.
And I've been told that most of the times Tommy would just answer the phone and let them know that the movie was screening at the one theater.
Set up screenings with that's what he was all about.
And then we had not seen The Room when James Franco and Seth Rogen sent us the book, The Disaster Artist. And the book is, if you haven't read it, the book's incredible. And you stopped about 3 chapters into the book to watch the movie alone.
I need to watch this thing, and I watched it in the most inappropriate way, which is, by myself on my laptop. But it was still an eye-opener.
And I waited until after we finished the first draft to even watch The Room. And we planned this out just in that we wanted a movie that works for fans of The Room. But
how many of you guys have seen it? Woo! How many of you have not seen it? Okay, so you guys like the movie?
That was the goal. That was why I waited, is so that hopefully we could write a movie that played for both the fans of The Room and people who've never even heard of The Room. So
were there like uber geeky things about the book that you left out because they would not make any sense or be in any way fun for
some of the funniest stuff?
Yeah.
Was you needed to have seen The Room to work, and we couldn't use that because we figured. Literally in every one of my initial conversations that we were going to work on this, they were like, "What is it?" And I would explain it, and they would be like, "What? Brie Larson's amazing. That's a great movie. I don't understand that." The Room, and it's not like Room. But the fact that it required so much explanation was, if this is actually going to ever get made, it can't be for the 200 people who have seen The Room. It has to be for a larger group. So.
Please tell me that somewhere, and I remember when I saw the film at the premiere at South by Southwest, the only thing I wanted to know was whether James Franco directed an entire version of The Room to get those clips.
There's a lot more DVD extras, let's hope. He shot a ton of great stuff.
Yeah, probably 30 to 40% of The Room we have. The sex scene on the staircase, we have that. There's a lot more stuff.
There's an entire Mike, the Mike character who gets the blowjob. He's in the thing.
Oh yeah.
We didn't make the final cut, but there's lots of Mike scenes.
It was actually a credit to Franco as a director because we knew we needed a little bit of that stuff in the premiere scene, but we were so ahead of schedule and under budget that we had extra time to keep shooting.
What?
It was everyone's favorite thing.
It actually kind of reminds me of those moments in the Farrelly Brothers movies where they would always at the end of the day come in and, or actually Paul Thomas Anderson did it on Magnolia too, is the end of
this
a certain
is just
scene.
Like that.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. If they had time in the day, they'd come in and shoot like the music video, or they'd shoot like some music montage at the end of the day. But yeah, it's what it kind of reminds me of. Obviously, James Franco makes 7 movies a year. I'm talking about just as a director, and most of them don't ever see the light of day outside of a single film festival or something for friends in LA. I think it get kind of obtuse, and I was sort of afraid when I heard that he had signed on to do this, that this would be one of those films we'd never see. And I knew even 2 years ago, I'm like, no, there's no way I'm not seeing this movie. But when they hired you guys, that was the first time I got an indication that this was a real Hollywood movie. It was like a,
No Mickey Mouse stuff.
no. I mean, your movies get seen, so to put it bluntly. Were you in some way a little concerned about like how faithfully, and this is like a, I mean, he made this for Warner Brothers. It's not ultimately released by them, but he made it for Warner Brothers and New Line, and there's like a level of professionalism to this. I don't mean this as an insult, but it's like that I've never seen from him, or rarely seen from him as a director.
Yeah.
Are you concerned at any point?
Honestly, we didn't know what to expect. We had never met any of those guys. So Scott and I, we do our own little film festival before we start on any project. And we were reading the book, and we were watching Ed Wood and Boogie Nights and Sunset Boulevard and Talented Mr. Ripley. And we went to meet with James Franco, Seth Rogen, for the first time. And within 5 minutes, they were talking about Boogie Nights, Ed Wood. So at least we knew that they had the same touchstones as us. But we had some of the same concerns. We thought, okay, is Franco going to be sort of in our movie while shooting another movie on the side, while taking a cooking class, while composing a sonnet, while like painting a mural? And he wasn't. He really was like present every day, just doing this thing. And I think in some ways that's something you don't see on screen, but a lot of times when certain actors are producers, like what does that mean? But Seth Rogen and his partner Evan Goldberg used a lot of their people, their DP, their first AD, a lot of the infrastructure they used for This Is the End and Neighbors and some of their movies, so that Franco was in a situation that this was more like a real studio movie.
Right. How much of some of it's in the book, but some of it isn't. Some of the more serious themes that I think you guys did a great job with, this idea that artistic expression can never fail. This is the Room is the movie that Tommy wanted to make, so is it a failure? And then also this idea that he was like this bundle of insecurities about being looked at as a villain in real life, and in addition to the ones of just whether he was any good as an actor. Tell me about sort of balancing that with just, because a lot of people are here to see them recreate The Room, but like this other stuff I think is kind of what makes the movie something a little better.
Yeah, we our whole premise was there's not a lot of suspense in a movie about like, is this thing they're making going to be good or not? If you've heard of it, you know it's not good. If you've never heard of it, you know it's probably not going to be good. So there's no suspense really in there. You can't hang a whole movie on that. So for us, the idea was like this friendship that starts in the most pure kind of way. It's like someone who's never been looked up to finally has somebody looking up to him. It's kind of what he's always wanted. And it's somebody who needs someone who's not filled with anxiety and all of the the confidence that he doesn't have. And they find each other, and the question that you hang the movie on is, will this friendship survive when the dream starts coming true? And in real life, a lot of times, when you get what you want, it's sort of a be careful what you wish for. And in this case, Tommy does become a complete, crazy, bullheaded psychopath. And the thing I think that he really wanted all along was this friendship. It starts to fracture. And I think the suspense of the movie is it going to get repaired? Or will he lose the thing he really wanted for The Room?
It's interesting, the scene, which, people laughed, and it is funny, the love scene shooting that scene. That's Franco just naked for like 5 or 6 minutes.
That's Franco on set naked for 5 or 6 hours.
Exactly. And he made us all take off our pants, which is super rare.
It was an open set though. We're shooting that scene, and those are long, like you said, 5 or 6 minutes of him running around in a sock, and
it felt like a long time.
It was, yeah.
But my question was like, that scene, when I saw it in March, it just seemed funny, and the abuse was kind of like, seeing it today, it's a very different sequence, and it seems like genuine just bullying and like literally naked aggression. Talk about, did you even have anticipated, like, when you wrote that, like how did it play for you guys?
No, Tommy crosses a line for sure. That is not acceptable behavior on a set. And we can argue about the reasons he does it, whether it's because he believes that's how Hitchcock directed, or he's bringing his own personal stuff to set that day because he's upset what's happening with Greg. Either way, you can't work your stuff out on set using the other people. Like we've made movies and had people in other situations that are a little disruptive, and you're like, okay, you kind of need to go work on this. You want people to bring themselves to the movie. When you're making it, it's a collaborative medium, but there is a line, and Tommy clearly crosses it.
It also seems like 5 years ago, that scene would have just played for comedy. Maybe 2 years ago, maybe 6 months ago, it would have played for comedy. The way in which we receive art changes, and you can't really predict it. And I think that speaks to The Room. Whatever he intended did not manifest. But here we are 15 years later talking about this thing. And we always talk about that weekend, the movie that was #1 was Charlie's Angels 2. When's the last time anyone's watched Charlie's Angels 2? I don't know. Certainly nobody's talking about it or quoting it.
That's our next project. The story behind Charlie's Angels 2 Full Throttle. Yeah. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
The last thing I want to ask you is...
that great idea.
is that I know that some of the people, the very few, I got to say, people who have actually criticized the films because they don't feel like it dives deep enough into Tommy. And what I always say to them is, well, this isn't Tommy's story. This is Greg's story. This is written from Greg's perspective, and I feel like we're getting as much of Tommy as Greg got. And I remember the first time Tommy was here in Chicago, and the Music Box staff was done with him after about 5 minutes, and they just pushed him off on me. Because I was just, and I spent the better part of like 36 hours with him, and I felt like it, and I'd done all this research leading up to like an interview I did with him, and I feel like at the end of that 36 hours, I knew him less than I did. So I'm wondering if that's part of maybe the reason people have that thing is there's no really knowing.
We've met Tommy 25 times, and every time is like the first time. He's a little bit like the guy from Memento. Like I'm not sure who he actually thinks wrote the movie.
That scene with Hannibal Buress, that's him. Like where he forgets that he met him. Like
No, but
has like a real.
you're asking a serious question. We never intended to decode Tommy or The Room. The questions are more interesting than the answers, and the fact that Tommy holds on to the answers so tightly, that's the most interesting thing to us. And if you're tracking through Greg, if you notice, we don't really seriously ask those questions in the movie until Greg does when the friendship is about to fracture. Because at the end of the day, this is a movie about friendship. And when the friendship is so tense that Greg is now wondering, is this guy really my friend, considering what he's putting me through, that's the time it makes sense for Greg to be asking those questions.
Would you guys say something else?
I was saying, we were premiering the movie in Toronto. Nobody really had seen it, and Wiseau was up with us, and he's pacing, which seemed like he was nervous. Backstage, it seemed like a very human reaction, and I was like, "Oh, interesting." So I walked over and I was like, "Tom, man, like, what must it feel like to be here right now? Like, this is so crazy." And he looked at me and he was like, no irony or anything. He goes, "I'm not here. It's just my ghost." Me too, dude.
That makes perfect sense. Guys, I don't think I'm overselling to say you've made the greatest movie in the history of movies. So thank you for being here.